Hey there, and welcome to the Sacred Style Podcast, a safe space for empaths, intuitives, healers, artists, and coaches, where we get real and go deep to explore the intersection of spirituality, entrepreneurship, personal branding, self expression, and the fine art and journey of being human. I'm your host, Daniela West, artist, designer, brand coach, and astrologer, as well as founder of the Humanista Co Creative, where we transform spiritual brands into spiritual magnets to amplify your purpose, impact, and abundance. In today's episode, we'll be speaking with the lovely Bethany Anderson about how to feel aligned in the midst of divine chaos. Bethany is a spiritual leader and teacher specializing in intuitive healing. Since 2016, Bethany has transformed her personal healing journey into a powerful platform to help others. Trained under one of the top 50 psychics in the country, she now shares practical tools and intuitive guidance through her work at Bethany Heals, offering private sessions, extended programs, and workshops. Bethany, how are you doing today?
I am peachy. Actually, I'm so happy we're talking about divine chaos because this morning has been
Yeah.
a little chaotic. So just in divine timing as usual.
Yeah, I know. My morning has also been super frantic and chaotic, especially in the mental space. So I feel like this is the perfect timing to talk about this topic together.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. I'm so excited. So honored to have you here today and drop all your nuggets of juicy wisdom. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited. So, just to kick it off, why don't you introduce yourself a bit? Tell us about your work and the journey that kind of led you to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, as you were talking, I was just thinking about my life and like what brought me to intuitive healing, which was actually a very chaotic moment. And I feel like that's why I'm able to align with change and sudden change so much more now. It's actually built into my story, which is really interesting. So, I was in 2016, I was in a fatal car accident where someone passed away and it was my fault. And after that happened, I wasn't even really in the spiritual community or world just yet. I had graduated college. I was working in the service industry. I was so disconnected from myself. And I was working through a lot of things and was leaning on alcohol to support me. And, after my accident happened, obviously when something that serious and traumatic happens, it affects you, affects everybody around you. I was dealing with PTSD, anxiety, depression, survivor's guilt, and I was just trying to find something to help me heal and to understand where this was all coming from. And that's actually how I found intuitive healing. My therapist at the time was like, you should try meditation. I think this would be really helpful with just getting back into your body and like getting yourself out of that, um, just that traumatic space that you're living in daily. And the first class I took was an intuitive healing meditation with my mentor
Mhm.
that I still work with
Oh,
today.
cool. Wow.
Yeah, and during that time, that first class, I just felt so seen. And I felt so seen by myself, which is something I
Mhm.
had never experienced before. And I saw the real me underneath all of like the stories and the past experiences and the limiting beliefs I was carrying about myself. And it was like this small little nugget of light where I was like, I'm just going to keep following this light and see where it takes me. And that was 9 years ago. Um, and
Mhm.
I just kept going. I did the work on myself for about 4 or 5 years before I started Bethany Heals. And I just realized this work changed my life so much. Especially coming from a world where spirituality, like I wasn't even in it. So at the beginning, I was just like, I don't even know what's going on. This just feels good.
Yeah.
But just really integrating and experiencing this work and studying it for so long, I was like, I just want to teach this and help as many people as I can because it completely changed my life. And so
Mhm.
um, it really is a beautiful practice to just learn about awareness and to learn how we can use our intuition to heal ourselves, how we can work with the energies within and around us,
Mm,
to really bring us to a more aligned path, and to bring us back to who we truly are, even
mm,
amidst all the chaos that we can be experiencing in our lives. So,
mm.
yeah, that's kind of a little background into how I ended up here.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, first of all, for being so honest and open about, you know, kind of the catalyst, the traumatic catalyst that led you into that work. Yeah, I didn't know that part of your journey. So it's really inspiring to hear, how you were able to turn that pain into real purpose, and turn it into this, well, basically use it to discover the path of your soul work and the collective that you're here to serve. So that's really beautiful. I'm really curious to hear a bit more about this experience of discovering your true self that you mentioned. Because I've been on that journey myself probably the last 7 years. It's been, oh gosh, it's a roller coaster, isn't it?
It is, and it never ends. It never ends.
Yeah.
I'm always learning about myself. I'm like, oh, what's this new layer? Okay,
Yeah.
let's
Yep.
dig into this and see where this is coming from. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that the first thing when it comes to really meeting the truest version of yourself, it's learning about what is yours and what isn't yours. So, what I
Mm.
mean by that is, even as a child, we are raised with the beliefs, with the ideals, with these pictures that by those who took care of us, right? And we, even if we don't take on all of these things as our own, we still see it every day. We hear it every day, and it does become a part of us. And then we start to make decisions for ourselves from these stories and from these pictures and these ideas that we may not even know that we're living our life from, right? So this is getting into like the subconscious and conscious state. And so the first thing is really figuring out, who am I, what is mine, and what isn't mine? What can
Mm.
I clear out from my space? What can I heal? What can I let go of? And what do I want to take with me? And I think once you start to shed those layers, you really start to see, like, oh, I actually don't think this way, or I actually don't feel good about, you know, doing this job, or I this doesn't resonate with me like it used to. And it really is a journey. It's a lifelong journey, but I think that it does get easier to catch it when you notice what's
Mm.
not yours. And I think that's the biggest difference, is like, now I can just immediately, or for the most part, pretty pick it up pretty quickly. I'm like, oh, that's not me.
Mhm.
Let me use my tools, my practices, let me see where this is coming from, and let me clear it out so I can just keep it pushing.
Yeah. Keep it pushing. I love that. But I resonate so much with that concept of learning to discern what's actually mine, what emotions, what mindset, what beliefs, what values actually are coming from me at the core level, and what are the things I've picked up through societal conditioning, like you're saying, friends, family, our communities growing up, our school, um, whatever spaces, as kids we're like little sponges, right? Absorbing
Yes.
everything around us, taking it all as what's normal, what's accepted, and then reaching a point. It's a point that I've reached in the last, maybe in the last decade, I would say, but especially the last 5 years, of coming to this internal space where I start analyzing the environments I'm in, the roles that I'm playing in my relationships, even in my business,
Mm.
and discovering, where are things feeling really off? Where are things feeling misaligned to the point where I'm getting drained? I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling bitter, I feel resistance to doing certain things or interacting with certain people, and not being sure, not understanding why at first, but getting to this place of like something's really off. Has
Yes.
that happened to you along your
Yes, and that's energy for you. You know,
Mm,
these are all responses to energies that we're picking up. Like we
mm,
have this tangible realm that we're in, but it all starts from an energetic, intangible space. Everything is
mm,
energy. So we naturally exchange energy with others. It's how we communicate, it's how we interact. The problem is when we don't take care of the energetic hygiene of grounding and clearing out what we're picking up from others. And that's when it turns into resistance. That's when it turns
mm,
into frustration. That's when it turns into all of more, these like lower vibrational feelings and emotions. It's just because we're carrying other people's energy in our space. Because our energy, it's beautiful, it's vibrant, it's light, it's easy, it's flowy, it's trusting, it's confident, right?
mm,
And so
mhm,
a lot of the times it's just, what did I just pick up? Who did I pick this up from? What
mm.
was just like triggered within me of maybe something that was deep down and the many, many layers down that we didn't realize was still there, you know?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I would be so curious to hear your unique tools or your unique way of uncovering this idea of, what is mine? What am I picking up from other people? How do I untangle myself from other people's stuff so I can approach things from a lighter, truer internal space? I'd love to
Yeah.
hear. Where do you even start on
I
that?
know, right? I know because this all sounds very up here in the woo woo.
Yeah,
It's a lot to take in, and I
yeah.
mean that's definitely like my biggest goal. It's always to bring it down to like a practical, grounded way. And I think
Mhm.
the simplest way to connect with that is just knowing that when we connect with our intuition, especially with intention, with intuitive healing, we're using the same space that we dream in, that we imagine in. When
Mm.
you're like daydreaming about this future goal that you have for yourself and you see yourself on the beach and you're laying out with a great book and you're just relaxing, it's all in the same space. So it's bringing yourself into that space intentionally. And that's where a lot of the work happens. And from that
Mm.
space, I always love to start with grounding. So it's like imagining myself, a beautiful like tree trunk connected to me, rooting down into the earth. And that's
Mhm.
just a grounding cord. And grounding cords, which is something we naturally do, we naturally ground and release. But with the grounding cord, when we do it with intention, it's like, I don't know what's in my space. I just feel funky. I'm going to ground out for this
Mhm.
funky feeling. Like you don't need to know exactly what it is. Or if you are feeling frustrated, like I just want to ground out this frustration, this anger, I'm letting it go and letting just imagine it just like rooting down into the earth, releasing it because the earth is this beautiful, regenerative, mothering, like regenerative, stabilizing energy. And that's what it does. It just
Mhm.
recycles the energy and reuses it because energy is limitless. It's
Yeah.
never ending. So it's this beautiful circle that we create of just releasing what isn't ours and sending it back to be used again anew. Um,
Mm.
that's always like the first. And there's a bunch of tools that I don't know if we have time for it specifically, but I do have like free meditations on my website too. I definitely always
Yeah.
recommend to people to try those out because there's a bunch of different fun
Mm.
ones in there where you can kind of tune into just learning about yourself within that meditative space.
I love that. I love that. Sounds like it would be very practical to get kind of an introduction to this idea of energetic hygiene, because there may be people in the audience who've just never even heard of that term. And I feel like it's a beautiful term, but it's very broad, right? Like hy
Yes.
hygiene, our energy, like what? Like how do we clean our energy? It's a fascinating idea. So, yeah, we'll definitely drop links for that. We'll drop all the goods at the end of the episode. Um, One thing that came to mind as you were speaking about grounding and this idea of the tall oak tree is the idea of human design popped into my head as a really good lens for making decisions. So something that I've learned in my experience, in my human design experiment, let's say, over the last few years is when it comes to discernment, right? What we were speaking about in terms of what's mine, what's someone else's, and how do I make decisions about what's right for me from a grounded internal space. I have found human design so helpful for the idea of tapping into my inner authority, my inner voice, my intuition, basically. And I'm wondering if you can relate to this at all, because I know we're both projectors. Uh,
Hmm.
so we're natural guides, we're natural leaders. And are you a splenic
I
projector?
am. Hmm.
Okay, so we're both splenic projectors, and basically the decision-making authority in human design terms is for us comes from the spleen. So for me, what that means is how I make decisions, how I tap into whether something is correct for me or not, whether a space is healthy, or not, or a connection is listening to that inner voice from an instinctual space from the
Hmm.
spleen. And it's been a really interesting process to understand what does that voice actually sound like versus
Mm.
what does the voice of fear sound like. So I'm wondering if you can relate, because I have had a really hard time over the years tuning into that intuitive voice and asking myself, okay, is this coming from like my highest self, my instincts to know that this is correct and healthy? Or is this voice that I'm hearing, is it from fear? Is it very frantic? Is it very rushed? Is it like pressuring me to do something? Or is it coming from intuition, which is just a clear, grounded, solid, more calm internal voice? So I'm wondering if that's ever come up for you in your practice or your experience.
I love that you brought this up.
Mm.
Yes. Like, long story short, yes. No,
Yes.
I love that you brought this up because it actually kind of ties into even just like our theme of chaos, right? It's like when there's so much happening around us, how do we tune in to our own personal intuition? How do we
Mhm.
discern what is our intuition, our higher self? What is the
Mhm.
ego? What is the difference between them, right? And you're right,
Yeah.
intuition is subtle. It is a whisper, it is a gentle
Mhm.
nudge, it's direct, it is calm. And the
Mhm.
fear, it does pull from the ego. It pulls from this survival space. It's pulling from our past experiences and saying, oh no, this is going to happen again. Don't do this. Or, oh no, this feels unfamiliar. I can't see what could happen if you make this choice. So it's not safe. Right. And
Yeah.
so, especially when we're in chaotic times, when there's so much happening around us, it's
Mhm.
so important to take a pause the second that fear starts to kick in and it's like, whoa, 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 hold on. Let me take a breath. Where is this coming from? Why do I feel uncomfortable? What am I really afraid of? Is what I'm afraid of actually going to happen? Probably not. I have a perfect example. I'm in the
Mhm.
process of moving
Yeah.
to Washington, right? And
Yeah.
I hadn't heard from the landlord for the place that I'm moving to, and I just started getting all of these thoughts. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be moving next week. What if it falls through? What if this happens? What if the person decided to
Yeah.
stay in the place and now I don't have a place and I just started to spiral a little bit, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And I immediately was just like, no, everything
Mhm.
is fine. Everything will work out. And guess what? If there are any sudden changes, I have made it this far. In all reality, I have made it this far and I've always been supported. I've always been guided and it's always worked out. So it's going to be fine. And then I immediately got a text from her. Haven't spoken to her in weeks. And got a
Oh.
text like, "Oh, hey, what day do you want the cleaner to come to like make sure everything's goods to go?" And I'm just like, when we can just give ourselves permission to pause, it can make the biggest difference because we start to shift our perspective, our mindset, and our mind is where every is what creates our reality.
Mhm.
So it all starts from there. Everything that we have today is based off of everything our mind envisioned for ourselves years ago, months ago,
Mhm.
days ago. It's all a culmination of what we believe we can have for ourselves and what we believe we can experience in our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you made you made a really important point in that example because I've been there too with moving. I moved like literally 5 times last year in 2024. 5 times, Bethany. That was hard.
Oh,
And some of those decisions were fear-based when I look back on it. They were coming from a place of really not feeling safe in my environment, but not feeling safe in my own, inside of myself, from my own nervous system was not regulated. So I did not have the tools yet to approach decision making from that space of, is this my intuition guiding my highest good, or is this voice that I'm hearing coming from a survival, fear-based, oh, this is what happened in the past, so like don't do this again, it's just going to repeat itself. So I can really relate to what you were saying, but something that stood out to me was this idea of looking for evidence looking for evidence. So something that's really helped me looking back is recognizing when my brain and that inner voice is literally just jumping to worst case scenario. Worst
hmm
case scenario. What if it falls through? What if I have a fight with the landlord? What if the neighbors are awful? What if X, Y, and Z? I noticed that about myself too when it came to moving, for example. When
yeah.
my inner voice started jumping to all these worst case scenarios, I could zoom out and I could recognize, oh, okay, we're spiraling a bit. We're spiraling into the worst case. We're catastrophizing this situation because it's uncertain, right? Because
Yes.
we can't control the outcome. So we try to predict what could happen based on what has happened in the past or what other people have told us has happened in their experiences, which
Mhm.
may not be true for us at all. So I like that approach you mentioned of slowing down those thoughts and catching them, and then looking for evidence that it is going to work out. Looking for evidence that, okay, is it true that every time I've moved, it's fallen through? No.
Yeah.
Are there instances in my life where I've moved and it's gone well? And things have flowed. Yeah. Yeah, there are examples, and then asking myself, okay, well, which narrative do I want to choose to believe and focus on? And I feel like that's a really good part of energetic hygiene itself. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And to bring it back again,
Mm.
divine chaos, with everything that you just said, you are the co-creator of your life. How can
Mhm.
we find the balance between taking initiative, taking an action for ourselves with leaning into trust? And not only trusting ourselves and that we can take care of ourselves, but also trusting that I can meet the universe halfway. I can
Mhm.
take these steps. I can trust that things are going to work out, and I can let Source, God, Creator do the rest. We don't have to
Mhm.
carry it all on our own. We have to, the only ask that we're ever given is to learn to trust ourselves and to take care of our physical body, our energetic self, our
Mhm.
minds, and to kind of allow things to unfold as they're meant to. Because if we
Mhm.
always just said things need to be this specific way. I need to go to step A to B to C to D. I can't go to one, two, three, or Z. I have to go this way. Imagine how much that we're missing out on when, Creator God is like, but I had this whole beautiful thing planned for you over here. Like, how about
Mhm.
you do go turn right instead of left and just see how much more I actually have available to you? And it's like, giving ourselves permission to step away from the fear and the ego and to lean in more into what's possible, you know?
Yeah, because when you decide to step away from the energy of fear and lean into what's actually possible, from the energy of fear to possibility, it, even thinking about it, I'm just like, oh, like I perk up, I feel more open, I feel more expansive, right? Isn't it so much more fun just to focus on
Yes.
possibility? Yeah. Like,
Yes.
why not? What if what if this could happen? You know what I mean? What if it goes better than I could have expected? Like, wouldn't that be wonderful? Why not lean into that energy?
It's a
You know?
choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely a choice.
Yeah. So I would love to encourage our audience to if you take away one little juicy nugget, I would love to leave people with that. Just lean into the energy of possibility and curiosity over fear and worry and doubt and just see how you feel, see what opens up from there.
Yeah, lean into that, take aligned action, and it's a co-creation. It's beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yes. Speaking of co-creation, I would love to hear some of your, I would love to hear about transformation in particular. Like with your beautiful work and, going through this co-creative process with yourself and the universe, yourself and your clients, what kind of transformations have you noticed in yourself and others through this
Yeah.
journey?
I've definitely found that I have landed into a very specific area when working with my clients. And
Mm,
it's this moment in life when you feel stuck, when you feel stagnant, when you feel like I can't see what's next for me. I can't get out of this past relationship, everything I experienced with that. I can't get out of this job that just completely wrecked my mind. I can't get out of this family situation, whatever it may be. Or I'm just trying to move in. I don't know what's getting in the way. And I think the most beautiful transformations that I've seen with my clients and even myself is getting ourselves out of that space. And it's like, okay, let's bring it back a little bit. And yes, we're going to focus on what's going through your experience presently, but where is this all stemming from? Because what's
mhm,
keeping you stuck is something that we're holding on to. What's keeping us stuck is something that is preventing us from seeing what's possible, right? And so, how do we find out what that is? And it might not even be something that's theirs, it could be somebody else's. Like
mhm,
story, experience, their opinions that are blocking them from finding that movement, from finally growing out and stepping away from these past experiences or what they're currently going through. And so I love to see that transformation, and especially when I work with my clients, because I see them from day one and, continuing to work with each other, they just step into their own. They
mm,
really do. It's just like this complete shift where it's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's blocking me, what's happening, like wanting to seek and find all the answers to, oh no, I feel that. I see what you're saying and I see where this is coming from. And it's like, I think it's a gift to be able to find that clarity because it gives you permission to move forward, and
mhm.
to do what you need to do.
That's beautiful. That sounds like a really powerful impact, to observe that kind of transformation. So I'm really, really happy to hear it. Gosh, what kind of advice, I'm curious, what kind of advice would you give to, let's say, someone who's listening, like someone in our audience right now who's feeling stuck because it's a chaotic time in human history, isn't it? And I would
Mhm.
imagine there's a lot of people stuck in the uncertainty of the global chaos right now. And I'm wondering if there's any advice that comes to mind you'd like to leave them with to take aligned action to move forward.
Yeah, I think it starts with reflection. When we feel stuck, I think that a lot of the times it's because we're not trusting something within ourselves. And so asking, like, where am I not trusting?
Mm,
Right? Where am I like holding on to fear right now of what I think could be or what I think I could be losing? Where am I leaning into this energy of lack, of scarcity? Um, and starting there, even just like journaling and just writing down everything that comes up. What are all the things I'm afraid of? Let me write them down and then burn it, please. Rip that baby up and burn it. Let it go. Let it go.
oh, yeah.
And it's like when we start to dig into what we feel like is really blocking us and to seeing it for what it is and not reacting to it,
Mm.
right? How can we look at our blocks from a space of neutrality? It actually can give us so much more wisdom and clarity with the direction that we need to take next. And it could be as simple as, oh, I just need to have a conversation with this person. Turns
Mm.
out I'm feeling this way and I've been holding it in for so long. And
Mhm.
all I needed to do was tell them how I feel. Are they going to receive it? Maybe, maybe not, but that's not the point. This is the
Mhm.
small step that I need to take. Or, it doesn't have to always be these huge, gigantic leaps. It can be as simple as, oh, my body just wanted to drink more water.
Yeah, I
I'm
bet.
drained because I'm not drinking water. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not moving my body to, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to go take a 10-minute walk, you
Mhm.
know? Um, and I think it can be that simple.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. Simple, practical wisdom that anybody could implement literally right now with the power of reflection. I really love that. Yeah. Just asking ourselves, where am I blocked and what can I do about it? Right? Mm.
Absolutely.
Mm. Bethany, yes, amazing, amazing wisdom. I could literally talk to you for hours and hours, and it's probably going to happen in the future.
I know. So
So
true.
it'll be fun. But yes, thank you so much for all this incredible wisdom. I literally feel like it's been 5 minutes of
I know.
speaking.
Time is just flying by.
Yeah, I feel like I entered a parallel universe and it's only been 5 minutes, which is
Well, time is a man-made concept. Don't get me started on that.
oh my gosh, wait, you've got Aquarius in your big three, right?
I am an Aquarius moon. Yeah, I'm a Cancer
Aquarius.
sun, Aquarius moon,
Uh,
Virgo rising.
and I'm Aquarius rising, so I feel like I get that. Bird's eye bird's eye view of humanity. Oh, I get it. Oh
So
my
true.
gosh. Well, we could do a whole episode just on astrology stuff, actually.
I
Maybe
know.
just we will. But
You never know.
now that you've blown people's minds with your wisdom, where can people get in touch with you? And what would you like to leave us with? Anything you're promoting? Tell us all the goods.
Absolutely. So I do offer private sessions, and I have actually a really beautiful offering that's coming up, and you can find it on just www.bethanyheals.com. I'm actually hosting a free masterclass on April 8th that you can register on my website, and it's all about breaking barriers and breaking through blocks. Which is so funny that you brought that up because I'm like, wow, that's actually what we're working on April 8th. So it's a
Wow.
60-minute free masterclass that I'm hosting. It's live and online, so definitely recommend for those that are interested. It's called Golden Hour. And then I have a whole beautiful container that starts on April 30th. It's called Elixir, and it's an 8-week
Hmm.
live and online journey. And we're going all through the realms of tapping into abundance and confidence and connecting with your higher self. This is definitely pulled off of so much of my life experiences, especially after how my whole journey began and having to rebuild my life to feel confident again and to trust myself and to understand the energetics of abundance, and not just financially. It could be opportunities and relationships and beautiful experiences that you want to have. And so that starts on April 30th.
Amazing. That's amazing because I didn't even know the topic of your masterclass. So it looks like we got a little intuition going on. Wow.
Wild. I love that. I was like, yes, I know how to speak to blocks. Not a problem.
Check, which is extremely important. Who doesn't need to get unblocked these days, you know?
I
I
know.
think
I know.
everybody needs some extra support, getting unstuck. Whatever you do in your life, it's pretty relevant. So,
Yes.
ah, Bethany, thank you so, so much for this incredible, incredible episode. I personally have taken away so many goodies, and I know our audience has enjoyed it too. So thank you for being here with me, and thanks to everybody who's been tuning in. Thanks for joining on the Sacred Style podcast, and I will catch you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much, and for always expanding my mind. I love it.
Oh, bye. Subscribe, like, and comment. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you found this video helpful. If you'd like to take your brand to the next level, check out my brand coaching services, as well as astrology-inspired collection of high-end, high-vibe Squarespace website templates, designed especially for spiritual entrepreneurs to help you create a premium level brand at a fraction of the cost. And exclusive for our YouTube viewers, save 10% at checkout when you use the code YouTube10. All links are in the description below. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next video.